Copilot Cowork has now started to arrive for Microsoft 365 Copilot users enrolled in the Frontier program. This could be the most exciting addition to Copilot since its initial release. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get started with Copilot Cowork, explain what it is, and offer some initial impressions and guidance. My name is Nick DeCourcy. I'm a Microsoft 365 consultant who specialises in AI adoption for small and medium-sized businesses. I'm also a Microsoft MVP for Microsoft 365 Copilot. If you're interested in keeping up with AI advancements, make sure you get subscribed to the channel and drop this video a like so you get to see more from me in the future. And if you're interested in working with me, check out the links down in the video description to get in contact. How to get working with Copilot Cowork. To use Cowork, you need a Microsoft 365 Copilot or Copilot Business license, and your user account needs to have access to Frontier features. You're also going to need access to Anthropic models in your tenant, which is on by default for most of the world, but not in the UK or EU. Check out the link in the description to my video on that topic if you need help with that one. Frontier Access is something set up by an admin, but if you have a suitably privileged account, you can add users to Frontier by heading to the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, searching for Copilot Frontier, and either setting it to all users or to specific users. Now, please remember that Frontier features are pre-release and in preview. They are not designed for reliable use in production environments. They are there to show you the bleeding edge of what is possible. Frontier features may eventually go into general release, may change significantly, or might entirely disappear. And while it seems unlikely that Copilot Cowork will end up in the latter category, it's important you understand exactly what you're signing up to when you enable these features. PSA over, how do you get Cowork itself? Cowork is an agent, so you'll head into the agent store and search for it. From here, you can add the agent. If you don't see it, go back to those Frontier settings or ask for access. And if you're an admin managing Frontier, you can find Cowork in the agent registry and then deploy it to the users that you choose. Once you've got it, either by manually adding it or through deployment, it will appear in your available agents in the left rail, and you can access it from there. Once you arrive in Cowork, it looks a little different than most agents. You have a model picker where you can select Auto, Claude Sonnet or Claude Opus 4.6. No OpenAI GPT models here. There's some starter prompt suggestions about organising your inbox, organising your week, prepping for a meeting and researching a company. You also get a content picker like across the rest of Microsoft 365 Copilot, and unlike the rest of Copilot, a text formatting tool as well. If I click on Organise My Inbox, you can see this prompt looks a bit different to the starter prompts we are accustomed to seeing in Copilot. What is Copilot Cowork? The prompt implies a very different set of capabilities to what we are accustomed to with Copilot, and this is exactly the point of this change. Cowork was announced in early March 2026 as part of Microsoft's Copilot Wave 3 announcements. It embraces an entirely new approach to working with AI that is critical for us to understand. But this certainly isn't entirely a Microsoft innovation. This feature is based heavily on and made in collaboration with Anthropic's Claude Cowork, a tool that has been taking business users by storm. Cowork was Anthropic's response to noticing that many of its Claude Code users were turning this tool, which is designed for agentic coding and long-running tasks, to general knowledge work. Things all of us have to suffer through, like organising expenses claims. But acknowledging that Claude Code's command-line focused approach would never be appealing to Betty in accounting, they wrapped it in a new UI and other usability-focused features. The result was Claude Cowork, and since it released a few months back, many people have asked the question, isn't this how Microsoft 365 Copilot is supposed to work? The reason the experience of using Claude Cowork has had such a positive response isn't one new powerful feature, but the way Anthropic has combined together features to get a more useful result. First, Cowork operates in the context of your file system. So you don't just give it references file by file, but you give it entire folders to work in. Based on your request, Cowork can spawn multiple AI agents and coordinate their work over an entire task, rather than just operating just step by step. And with Claude's skills, you can make Cowork and those sub-agents experts in a particular process, step or task. And where tasks need particular tools, Cowork has access to a VM where it can run code to actually do stuff. This combination of broader access, parallel work across big tasks, and specialist skills and tools has led to a solution that can take on big productivity tasks fairly autonomously. Microsoft 365 Copilot is constantly evolving with new features and capabilities, but its value isn't just this list of updates. What really matters is how much it can help you to get done. Since Copilot first launched, I've been helping businesses turn teams with new licenses into power users delivering real business value. Now I'm running a training program you can join as an individual. Find out more at the links down in the description and get signed up for Get Work Done with Microsoft 365 Copilot. Or, if you need training or adoption support for your entire team, check out my other services. I have personally been using Claude Cowork for a little while now. My main use cases so far where I've been happiest with the results have involved training materials, both helping me with ongoing verification and updates. Copilot, after all, changes very quickly, and supporting the creation of new demos. But beyond this, much of my use has been experimentation, because while Claude Cowork is powerful, it also comes with an enhanced set of risks. Sometimes these tools just do unexpected things, and the more access they have to files, data and tools to interact with your other systems, the greater the blast radius of those errors. But by bringing the Cowork approach to Copilot, Microsoft aims to create a middle ground where you get the power of this new AI capability, but within the relative safety of Microsoft 365. Because Microsoft controls the data and capabilities Copilot Cowork is using, and because you already have this wrapped in a governance and responsible AI framework, this may be the version of this Cowork technology that is truly safe enough for broad deployment in businesses, rather than a tool for enthusiast users. And it is this important set of similarities and differences that makes Copilot Cowork so exciting. If Microsoft manages to thread the needle of building a tool that exceeds the capabilities we've seen to date with Copilot by infusing Claude's approach into its stack, while maintaining the important controls Microsoft 365 establishes, then this may be the killer version of business AI. But on the flip side, if what Microsoft ships in the long term is just a more muted version of Cowork, safer but unable to achieve results in the same league as Claude's version, undoubtedly we'll be seeing challenging questions about the ability for Microsoft 365 to keep up in the AI age. So which will it be? Let's take a look at some initial hands-on demos, initial impressions and guidance. So let's start with exactly the same example running Copilot Cowork that I just showed you in Claude Cowork, creating a set of related documents for a demo. This is the type of example work that I have seen improve greatly over time. I remember zip archives of extremely bland files being generated by the GPT-4 era ChatGPT tools. The latest versions of Claude made these files better, and Cowork has made them more coherent. And in about the same amount of time it took Claude Cowork, you can see that Copilot Cowork has created something largely similar. The big difference here is instead of being in a nominated folder on my PC, these files are in the Cowork folder in my OneDrive. But a demo of that nature doesn't show off the promise of integrating this tool into Microsoft 365. Here, let's look at something more complex. I've seeded my inbox with an urgent message that includes some information and some instructions. I'm going to ask Copilot Cowork to triage my inbox and deal with messages like this, and we'll see what it can do. The entire process takes a long time, but the most interesting part is that Cowork does indeed acknowledge the instructions and brings tools into the chat to allow me to do the things I need to do, including setting up meetings, drafting emails, and creating the specified document. This shows off that deep integration with Microsoft 365 that is able to be triggered by these long-running workflows instead of just in the query and response of chat. It does also show why this is still in preview though. It gets some information in addressing those emails wrong, it doesn't search for a suitable meeting time, and it asks me to approve an email with an attachment before it gives me a chance to view that file. None of these are horrendous errors in this context, but they are also the types of blockers that must be fixed for the product to live up to its promise. This video will definitely have a follow-up when I've had a chance to explore what Copilot Cowork can do, so make sure you're subscribed. This is a frontier preview, so rough edges are to be expected, but on first look, as a window to what might be possible by taking this approach within Microsoft 365, there's a lot to like in my opinion. There are some big challenges I see for Microsoft in getting this right, and assuring there is the right balance between usability and responsible safety. And for me, one of them is exactly how this technology weaves itself into Microsoft 365 as a cloud-based service. The folder-by-folder scoping of Claude Cowork, along with the folder-level instructions you can convey using Claude.md files, is in my view a big part of what makes it so usable. That concept is currently absent in Copilot Cowork, with files being dumped into a generic Cowork folder in OneDrive. It feels to me like having to specify grounding items for these tasks will be cumbersome, but just letting it do its thing across all of your data, potentially too risky. And losing the concept of those Claude.md files that provide folder-level context puts a lot of extra pressure on the capabilities of WorkIQ to just understand your data. This is the biggest opportunity Microsoft has had to bring new relevance to Microsoft 365 Copilot since it was first released in 2024, and I think those working on this feature understand the stakes. Cowork has the potential to be revolutionary, and where we are today is a very good start on that journey. But it's important to be mindful that this is a preview. Those rough edges are part of the deal, but it's for Microsoft to smooth them out so the general vision becomes product reality. Anthropic isn't slowing down on Cowork, so Microsoft has a big to-do list if this is the path the future of Copilot is tied to. Let me know your thoughts and initial takes on using this down in the comments. Thanks for watching through to the end. Until the next video, bye bye.